Hey everybody, it's Professor Diffley. This is History 100, Chapter 6. We are now looking at the Roman Empire, is where we are for this one. So you can see the learning goals and objectives as usually. There's more required websites this time around because it's more information on the gladiators, chariot racing, some on the imported emperors, things like that. There's also videos as usual. Again, some of these videos, as you can see, have to do with the emperors. Especially pay attention to the stuff on the chariot racing and gladiators, because that is for the discussion board this week. And also on the Christianity and the rise of Christianity in the empire of the Romans. And again, you can see these overview videos and other things there. So these will really take a look at these in detail. And as always, let me know if you have questions here. These links here are videos. They're just not on YouTube, so they go to I believe it's the Smithsonian channel. So take a look there. So let's get into the slides real quick. We'll run through these as usual. So again, the Roman Empire, where we left off last time, Caesar has been assassinated, and that is generally the end of the Roman Republic. As you can see here, Rome is going to spread. This is shows by Augustus, actually, all the way to Trajan. How far the Roman Empire will actually expand. So, after the death of, or assassination of Julius Caesar, you get the second triumvirate. Remember, a triumvirate is rule by three, and here's yet more civil war. Here you're going to have three people, Antony, Mark Antony, Octavian, Caesar, who's going to become Augustus, so make sure you note that. Octavian and Augustus are the same person, and Lepidus, or Lepidus, is the other one. Here they join, it's really Antony and Octavian who are going to be the most important here. Eventually, Lepidus is forced into retirement rather than battle it out with these two here. They join forces against Caesar's assassins and anybody they felt threatened by, and that includes going after their own family members. They are recognized as the official panel to restore to restore the Roman government after the masterminds of Caesar's assassination. What happens is, why these three? Well, Antony is the Caesar's right-hand man, his top general. Gaius Octavius Caesar. Octavian is adopted by Julius Caesar afterwards. Before his death. So he is now Caesar's son in that. So again, Octavian, 18-year-old grandnephew, but adopted son of Caesar. Most important thing for him, he inherited Caesar's fortune, one of the richest men in Rome, and he buys the loyalty of Caesar's legions, which is interesting because you'd think they might be more loyal to Antony because he was their general as well. But again, this is about money. And so he becomes a consul, again, further breaking tradition in Rome. He's only a teenager. Antony is a beloved friend and former general. He also, believes, he's older. Remember, Rome, age, wisdom, that sort of thing matters. So he believes he should be in charge because he's significantly older. Again, once Caesar's murderers are dealt with, Lepidus is forced into retirement. He realizes that's a smart way to go rather than get into a war with them. But what happens is, eventually, after they defeat Caesar's enemies, tensions break out. Antony takes over the eastern provinces of the empire because that's the richest area of Rome. So he sees it as that's the smartest thing to do. He forms an alliance with Cleopatra, also very powerful and rich. But he makes a mistake in this. He leaves Octavian in Rome by himself, so Octavian can control the message. And Octavian, as a great Octavian, who becomes again, Augustus, is a great politician. Uses propaganda excellently, really, really well here, and he launches a propaganda campaign against Antony. What is it about? He plays on Roman ideas and Roman bias against foreigners and especially women. He argues, look at Antony making a deal with all these foreigners, especially Cleopatra. She's going to become your ruler, not Antony. And worse, Look at Antony hiding behind the skirt of a woman here. So he really plays to all that, turns people against Antony. Again, a mistake to just leave him alone in Rome because he can control the messaging. Octavian has a great general and admiral, Agrippa, who's able to destroy Antony's fleet off of Actium in Greece, and really destroys his ability to fight. Antony flees Cleopatra in Egypt. Octavian invades, and Antony and Cleopatra take their own lives rather than be captured. Why kill themselves rather than be captured? They don't want to become prizes of war. They wouldn't have been executed. They would have been, kept in cages and paraded around. To them, it's a fate worse than death. So he takes over Egypt, makes it a province. Remember, Caesar had made them sort of an equal of Rome. And now Octavian is the richest, most powerful man in Rome, with no really competitors. And that's what he creates. He becomes the first true Roman emperor in this. He eventually takes the name, he's given the name Augustus, Augustus Caesar, and what he creates is the Principate. And that is the name of the government that's going to last through the rest of this chapter. Eventually it's going to be called the Dominate, but we'll get to that in the next chapter. So, Augustus Octavian, again, and a brilliant tactician and politician. He wins over the Senate. He relinquishes his power over the state and refuses the title of dictator that others had been. So right there, he starts to play into their ideas that, well, look, he is not just power hungry. Essentially what happens is he plays them all. He really does. By faking them out and giving back power, he slowly builds his own power base and takes over the most important positions, but not the ones that you would think, not the, dictator. He pensions off a number of his legions, he retires them, and settles them throughout the empire. Now, at first this seems to the Senate, this is what the Senate believed, this is great, he's given up his armies, he's not going to be a brutal military dictator. But Augustus is smart, right? Why is he pension them off and settle them throughout the empire? Now he's got supporters all throughout the empire, even further. And they make him protector of Rome for this, the Senate does. And they give him all these powers, civil and military. So essentially what happens is by giving up power, not claiming it for his own, Augustus ends up being granted all of this, right? And so that's the wild thing here. And so he's more or less given the keys to the empire here. He's given the title of Augustus, which means essentially favored by the gods. And he creates this Principate. Principate, again, very important here. It's a disguised monarchy. It keeps up the facade of the republic, right? It keeps the all the symbols of it. But in reality, he is king. He is emperor. He takes the title Princeps, which means first man, right? He doesn't take dictator, he doesn't take emperor, he doesn't take king. So he says he's just the first man among all other men, right? He's even going to go to great lengths not to flaunt his wealth, dress like a normal person. So this isn't the Roman emperor as we're going to see later. He is purposely trying to play down all of that outward symbols of power. Why? Because he knows he's got all the power. And this was the facade of a republic here. He ruled as a king, what they called Rex, yet able to mask it by Princeps. Only occasionally held official office, right? He lets other people become consuls and all of that. He lets the Senate continue. They allow him for this. He elects tribunes, consuls, all of that. Allows them to keep running things. But in reality, he's the man in charge. The Senate grants him the power of tribune. So now he has a veto power. He has protector of the people. Remember, tribunes from last chapter cannot be harmed. That's part of the law. They give him an imperium, the power of the consul. His imperium is imperial, they said. This is where we get the term. He is superior to all others. So again, even though he doesn't hold elective office, he is in charge. And remember, in Rome, it's about respect. You don't have to have official office or power for people to respect you, to exercise power. And so that's what he's able to do. And again, he can claim that the people followed him not because of his power position, but because of his moral authority and respect, his auctoritas. So again, essentially his esteem, his prestige is the way to look at it. So how does he do this? And this is true for really throughout the Principate. Take care of the army, right? They're the power. They're the source behind it. Get the emperor's image out there as a just and generous patron, right? And so he becomes essentially, remember the patron-client system, he becomes patron to all of Rome. Eventually, how does he do this? He's going to create the first fire department, some of the first police departments. He's going to give out grain, all of these things. Promote Roman law, culture, and traditions. He becomes a symbol of this, and he's going to live by it. You know, he reinstates all these moral laws. And his daughter breaks one of them. She's a cheater, adultery. Now, usually when you have a powerful person, the laws don't apply to them, right? They'll get their family out of trouble. Augustus punishes his daughter, takes away her wealth, and exiles her. So he shows he's not above the law, that everybody is, responsible here. And so that wins him favor. And so, next one here, selling the politicus, again, symbolism and images. Here this coin says Pater Patriae Augustus. So he is the father of fathers. Remember, the paterfamilias has all this power in the Roman family, and Augustus makes himself that way. Again, he dressed modestly, acted modestly, just like anybody else. He uses the term republic, claimed to have restored it. Again, did not show favor, communicated his image as this, and again, reminds them of, roads have been built. So again, coins are like the mass media of the day, and so he gets all of this out there. He also, building projects. The story is Augustus found a city of bricks and left it a city of marble. So this is where and there's that video, the fly-through of Rome, a virtual tour of Rome at its imperial height. Augustus starts all that, the marble, the beautiful buildings, that sort of thing. And you say a city of clay and left it a city of marble. All these public works. Public works are creating jobs. What are they? They're things that people can use. Think roads, buildings, public buildings, that sort of thing. They create jobs. And he brands them with his own name, right? So you get the Forum of Augustus here. He puts up statues, not of himself, but of great Roman heroes. Things on display are like Caesar's sword. But he never really puts himself, he puts his name on the place, but he doesn't build statues to himself, which is what, most dictators do. So again, he's masking all of this. Creates more and more aqueducts, all of this. He builds things for the people, and they are the ones, now they're going to be thankful to him for all of this. This is, again, another cutaway of the Forum of Augustus. This is Temple of Mars altar. Again, in that video, the flyover video, which you have to watch, because I'm going to ask you about some of the places in there, the Roman bathhouses, things like that. This is at Mars, the superior, right? Mars the greatest, the best and greatest here. Other reforms, again, reforms the military, makes it a professional force with generous pensions. This is why if you go into military or police service, the 20 years and you get to retire with a pension. We still use that today in public service, in the military, and that's, creates people who are willing to be career professionals, and that's what professional means here. That's your job for life. He makes himself patron of the entire military. He creates the Praetorian Guard. Now, this is really important. He does not station his legions in Rome or even in Italy. Instead, he gets the Senate to agree to allow him to have bodyguards, this Praetorian Guard. Now, they are essentially like the elite soldiers. These are special forces guards for him. They have a base in Rome, a camp in Rome. And they are going to become the true power behind the throne in the Roman Empire. From this point on, they are going to assassinate emperors, pick emperors. They are going to be, after Augustus and some of the Pax Romana, they will be the true power there. Social reforms, creates large-scale welfare programs, the fire and police forces, these moral laws that I talked about before. All of these he does to reform and restore Rome. That's the idea. One last thing with this. Why is he able to do all this, and how does it work? Essentially, it rules for so long in such a peaceful time that by the time he dies, there is barely anybody alive who remembers what the Republic truly was. So he could still call it a republic, even though it's a monarchy. Why? Again, stable, long-term rule. Everybody has died, mostly of natural causes, who could remember what it truly was before this. That is where we'll end this video. We'll start here with the built environment of Rome in a second. All right, thanks, folks.